So a little while ago, I made a video about the Tax Recovery Center. That's this entity or thing or name that's been calling people about tax debt. Chewy Buns, love that name, says the calls I get from them say Tax Credit Recovery Center. So this seems like a new one on the scene. I hadn't heard that exact variant. So what I did is I Googled Tax Credit Recovery Center in quotes. I found a phone number here, and I'm going to just call this phone number right now and see what happens. So what is it? 707 788 9487. Okay. Let's go.
Thank you for calling the Tax Credit Recovery Center.
Okay.
The reason we called you was to inform you that your past due tax debt over $5,000 has been placed in a non-collectible status, meaning you will not have to pay back the full amount of this tax liability. This is part of the new Federal Economic Recovery Program. If you currently have less than $5,000 of outstanding tax debt or back taxes, please disregard this call. If you owe more than $5,000 in federal or state taxes, please press 5 to be connected with a settlement advisor. If you do not wish to be contacted further, please press 2 to be added to our do not call list. Please hold while we connect your call.
Thank you for holding. This is John. Did you recently inquire about a tax resolution program?
Well, I Googled the Tax Credit Recovery Center. I found this number. I pressed 5. Who am I speaking to?
This is John.
Thank you, John. Now, this isn't a scam, is it?
No, sir.
Because people are on the internet saying it's a scam.
Okay. So how can I help you?
Well, can you help people with the back tax debt?
Yes, we offer resolution programs.
Now, what do you mean by a resolution The voicemail said if I owed more than $5,000 that I'm in some kind of non-collectible status and I won't have to pay it all back. Is that accurate?
So the campaign we're running right now, the minimal amount is $8,000.
$8,000. So you're telling me that if I owe $12,497 to IRS, I will in fact qualify for this tax credit recovery center program?
Correct.
Well, how does it work? Please explain.
So I can bring in a specialist that can provide you with all the information that you need. Do you have a couple minutes for a free consultation?
If you say so, and it sounds like it can help me out, what do I have to lose?
Okay. What's your name, sir?
My name is Ethan Tucker.
Okay. And are you currently employed, sir?
No, sir. I'm on disability.
Okay. Do you receive benefits each month?
I do, sir.
Okay. And what's your monthly income, sir?
Well, it's just the benefits. It's about $850 a month.
Okay. And have you filed bankruptcy, sir, in the last 5 years?
Never.
Okay. And you said you owe around $12,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay. One moment here.
I hear a bunch of fellers there with you.
Yes, sir. So it looks like, at the moment you wouldn't be able to qualify. The system declined your request. Yeah.
Why?
Thank
Why?
you for your time, sir.
Why did it decline me, John?
I don't know, man. Have a good day.
John, help me.
Thank you for calling.
Well, that was fun. All right, so here's my take on this. It sounds like Tax Credit Recovery Center. So what's the deal with the 5,000 thing, right? The 5,000 thing is they don't want leads for less than that have less than $5,000 of tax debt, right? And to be fair, most CPAs like myself, most tax attorneys like you can see Greg on the screen here, who's the head of our resolution team at Choice Tax Relief, and most even smaller, one man, one woman shop CPA, tax law, whatever firms, they don't want the small cases either because there's only so much you can charge, right, for the services. It's a lot of work to talk to the IRS and just even get a hold of the IRS about a company's case. And if someone only owes $5,000, how much are, to get one of our tax attorneys interfacing with the IRS, like my cost for that is a lot, right? Because I pay my staff well. So it just wouldn't make sense if even for just a few phone calls with the IRS with, one of our attorneys. That's probably $1,000 right there. That's 20%. If you owe $5,000, that's 20% of what you owe. Right? It kind of just doesn't make sense, especially if the case gets more and more complicated and goes on and on. So that's why they kind of want to weed out people who, owe less than $5,000. The thing I didn't like is how it said, it almost basically it stated as a fact, if you owe more than $5,000, right? Because they don't want people calling in less than $5,000. If you owe more than $5,000, then you're in like a non-collectible status, is what they said, and you won't have to pay it all back. Well, how does the robot, when you call in, how could it possibly know that, right? That you are currently in CNC, which you're probably not, unless you negotiated with the IRS previously, or they put you in it for one of the rarer reasons, but that's kind of beyond the scope of this. And the fact that they're basically telling you to get your hopes up and you qualify to not have to pay it all back, that's just a lie. Right? They can't know that, right, with its mass marketing campaign. So, of course, the goal is to get some gullible person who calls in, who thinks they're going to qualify, right? And they heard this message, they're like, oh, wow, I'm not going to have to pay back all my tax debt. They call in, they talk to the opener, like John. John has a few qualifying questions. How much do you owe? It sounds like the minimum there was eight grand, so they want to make sure they think they owe at least $8,000. He didn't ask about any unfiled tax returns, which is interesting. Have you filed bankruptcy in the past 5 years? And what's your income, right? And why do they ask about the income? Well, they want to ask about here's the ironic thing, right? Somebody making $850 a month in, let's say, disability benefits from the government, who has no assets to their name, would definitely likely qualify for an offer in compromise with the IRS. Okay? Like, that is like a poster boy or poster girl, right, for qualifying for an offer in compromise with the IRS. So why did John say you don't qualify, right? And he wants to make it sound like he ran it through some official computers. Oh, you don't qualify, when clearly someone like Ethan would. Good old Ethan Tucker. Well, he said that because the perception is this caller is broke. They get $850 a month in disability. We might be able to get an offer in compromise for them if they knew what they were doing, but we don't want them as a client because they probably can't pay us very much money. Okay, so that's the sad reality of this. I'm almost comfortable calling this a scam. Okay, because of the lying. Right? Because of the lying in the initial marketing kind of voicemail or whatever that voicemail drop or whatever the recording was I called, and the lying from their openers, telling somebody who could probably very well qualifies for like an offer in compromise or something like that they don't qualify. Because the reality is, well, they probably do qualify for an offer in compromise, but they don't qualify to become a client of Tax Credit Recovery Center. And as a matter of fact, I doubt that Tax Credit Recovery Center is even a, I don't think it's an actual company. Okay. I think it's just a lead generation company. Right. So, John there doesn't work for like Choice Tax Relief or, any of their tax relief companies that actually have their own staff and people working cases. All they're doing is generating leads, qualifying them with basic qualifying questions. And then what they're going to do is they're going to transfer them to a specialist at an actual tax relief company who wants to buy that lead. Okay. So that's how that works. And there's a lot of these lead generation companies, and it's not just in tax relief, it's in so many different industries where they come up with some generic name, like Fresh Power Solar, or, we see it in many industries, right, where they're just a lead generator. Okay, it's not an actual solar company behind that. All they're doing is generating leads and selling it to real solar companies, right? So I don't know. I have a very bad taste in my mouth from this. I'm probably comfortable calling this a scam simply because of the lies, right? If you use outright lies in your marketing, saying you qualify for this in your outbound message or your voicemail drop or your voicemail or whatever the heck it is, and then your opener talks to somebody who probably will qualify for a government relief program, then, oh, I'm sorry, you don't qualify because you're too broke and we're probably not going to be able to squeeze a bunch of money out of you. Probably a scam. Okay. So anyway, and I'm not too scared of saying that because I don't think Tax Recovery Center is even a company. I just think it's a name. It's just some phrase that they use in these campaigns. So anyway, folks, very interesting, very interesting. If you have other folks calling you, I'd love to talk to them. So post them in the comments below what the company name is and of who's spamming you and blowing up your voicemail and text inbox, and maybe they'll get a little call from Ethan Tucker or somebody else. Anyway, thanks so much for watching this video, everybody. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.